My agenda will be based on a simple core principle: putting America first.
The policies of the Trump administration have created a widespread perception that the U.S. is retreating from the international stage. What are the global implications of Trump's foreign policy? Hello, I'm Anand Naidu, and this is The Heat. The Iran nuclear deal, the Paris Climate Agreement, NAFTA, UNESCO, all have one thing in common. The United States is pulling back from its international commitments. Since the end of the Second World War, the U.S. has been a global policeman and a driver of multilateralism, building international alliances to help solve the world's problems. But is Donald Trump forsaking diplomacy for gunboats? And instead of making America great again, are his isolationist tendencies making America less relevant? CGTN's Owen Fairclough has more.
At Bretton Woods, New Hampshire, delegates from 44 allied and associate countries arrived for the opening of the United Nations Monetary and Financial Conference.
From the ashes of the Second World War, the birth of a new US-led global financial order, inspired by this idea:
to promote trade in the post-war world and to create a foundation for lasting peace.
The International Monetary Fund behind me was created at that conference, and right across the road, the World Bank. And both of these global institutions are just minutes away from the White House. But its current occupant, Donald Trump, is challenging the global view that created these kinds of institutions.
As President of the United States, I will always put America first.
For some, that means abandoning commitments Trump doesn't like.
I do think that President Trump believes that the United States would be better off if it was less involved around the world, both economically and militarily.
Trump has pulled the US out of UNESCO, the culture arm of the United Nations in Paris, and he won't comply with the Global Climate Accord concluded in the French capital.
I was elected to represent the citizens of Pittsburgh, not Paris.
Add to that, abandoning another deal he thought unfair on the US, the Trans-Pacific Free Trade Pact.
We just officially terminated TPP.
And it seems clear the US is heading in a new direction.
Of course, the problem for President Trump is that while he has withdrawn from some of these international organizations, he has in some respects expanded U.S. military operations around the world in a unilateral fashion. So you could argue that he hasn't given up the responsibility for being the global policeman, but he's just not having anyone else help us.
Trump's also been taking unilateral action in security matters, threatening to destroy the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, then refusing to recertify the Iran nuclear agreement. That's problematic for European allies, already rattled by Trump suggesting US support for NATO allies should be conditional on their financial commitment.
It is, and it risks to be more difficult to open any form of dialogue or mediation with the PRK.
Trump isn't the first US leader to question Washington's engagement with the world. Predecessor Barack Obama complained about allies who didn't pull their weight. But if the US is in retreat, China is stepping up.
China will uphold the values of peace, development, cooperation, and win-win progress, and it will adhere to its foreign policy of safeguarding world peace and promoting common development.
The question for China will be how far it's prepared to go to safeguard that peace. Owen Fairclough, CGTN, Washington.